this is going to be about basing your foundation. So we covered all the frequencies and what is what. Alpha being the lowest, omega being the highest, okay? Alpha being hell, okay? So it's a frequency. Omega being the highest state of consciousness, all right? For us to achieve the highest state of consciousness, we have to return to God. We can reach enlightenment, which is as close as we can get to omega as human beings. We can't get to the very top because there is only God at the top. But when we return to Allah, we will, inshallah. Because Allah is one. Allah wahid, sah? Right? Meaning, and He created us. Allah created us from part of Him. Tiny, tiny, tiny fraction. Tiny, tiny fraction. And when we say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, we are returning to God at the very top. So now let's talk about foundation. Children, their foundation is the omega. The children are naturally loving, joyful, peaceful, and enlightened. Okay? But they, because they are growing in physical bodies, they require physical needs and affection. They are needy. Okay? People, as they grow, they start to get affected by their ego. Okay? Ego being the shaytan. And it puts them down in a lower, if they lose control of it, if they forget who they are, they get lower and lower as they grow. Unfortunately, this is where most people are. They're in the alpha, okay? They are in the lowest state of mind, and the lowest consciousness, lowest frequency, lowest everything. They are in hell, okay? Hell being feeling shame, guilt, apathy, grief, and fear. This is the foundation of a lot of people, okay? They base their foundation off that. Why? Because they worship ego. Even people that say that they worship God, they don't actually worship God. They worship ego. They are not submitting to God. They're submitting to the opposite. And they try to be in control. They let others control them, and they try to be in control, one or the other. Okay? When your foundation is based down here, you are going to struggle every single day to climb up. Okay? So how you would get up to the omega, you can exercise, you can eat healthy, keep your physical body in good shape. If you are not taking care of your physical body, you are going to have an even harder time in this life, right? You're going to have to struggle every day just to feel a bit of goodness. You're going to feel a bit okay. If you base your foundation in the omega, okay? In love, joy, peace, enlightenment. If this is your foundation, okay, you are going to always fluctuate back up. You can come down here sometimes, okay, but you're always going to come right back up because this is where you naturally are. If you are here, this is where you naturally are. If you're here, this is where you naturally are. You're going to always snap back to it. When you go up, it's harder to come back down. But when you're down, the hardest part is going up. There's nothing lower than the alpha, okay? You're always going to be here, okay? You can feel this through some ways like prayer, okay? Like listening to music, like using substances, like the uppers, something that gets you literally high. That's what getting high means. It gets you up here. But as soon as whatever you do wears off, as soon as the prayer is over, as soon as the high is over, as soon as you finish exercising, the song is over, you're going to dive right down. You're going to plunge right back to the alpha. Unless you are already up here. And when you are up in the omega, you're not going to be looking for things that will make you feel up here. They're the things that will make you feel love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Those coping mechanisms that you had when you were down here, you don't need them anymore because whatever you're doing here was going to keep you up here. When you're up here, what you need to do is maintain your physical health. If you are in the alpha, most likely you're going to have a hard time taking care of your physical health when you're in survival mode. When you're in survival mode and you're feeling shame and you're feeling guilt, for God knows what, every person is different, you're probably not going to have an easy time taking care of your diet and your physical health. And you're probably not going to be more aware of, your surroundings or like the things that you do that are good or bad. You know, you're not going to know, okay, because your standard is very low. But when you're up here, you're going to know. All right. This is the importance of having a foundation in the omega, not the alpha. Okay. Because when you're up here, the way for you to be here is for you to move on from any shame, any guilt, any negative feelings or perception you have about yourself and that you have about others. Okay? For you to be here, you need to get rid of all these feelings. Shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, stress, anger, pride. No bueno, okay? Those are what keep you down here. And when you feel these things, when you feel anger, you feel stress, you feel desire, you can use them, you can channel them into creativity. And you can use them to connect with others. It's not always good. Remember, too much of anything can be bad. Okay? Too much enlightenment can disconnect you from society. Too much peace can make you actually almost apathetic, I think. If you are feeling like too peaceful, you won't be able to relate to people that are down here, all right? If you are too joyful, you know, what goes up must come down. It's almost impossible for somebody to be like high on joy all the time, all right? That's why I say, even now that I've reached enlightenment, I still fluctuate, okay? And that's perfectly normal. I have days where I'm down here and days where I'm up here. But I fluctuate starting from here. All right, this is my foundation. I don't base my foundation down here anymore. Okay? The issue that I've noticed a lot of Muslims go through, and people, religious people, is when they're lacking spirituality in their faith and they're following things by the rule book rather than seeing it as a guide on how to take care of like their health and their happiness. The problem is that they practice their faith with their foundation down here. But God wants you to be up here. You don't need to be down here, guys. You don't need to feel shame. I notice that a lot of people associate Islam with shame. They see somebody that is confident in themselves and they get angry about it. They're like, why are you like that? Like, why are you not feeling shame? Fear Allah. And when people say fear Allah, they don't mean fear Allah because they're conceptualizing Allah as man, which is very disrespectful. So they tell you to fear Allah, and they're just vocalizing their judgment of you. They try to shame you. And a lot of people do live in shame, and that's why they want everybody else to feel the same way. A lot of Muslims feel shame. A lot of Muslims feel guilt. Okay? And the shame actually revolves around sexuality. And this is not just for Muslims, it's for many people. Their shame revolves around sexuality because of the behavior that revolves around sexual maturity and how it becomes something that you can't talk about or you can't, you have to hide. I look like I'm sick, bro. Am I sick? Am I still sick? Oh my God, I'll be right back. Shit, I look disgusting. I look so bad. The hell? Why do I look like that? Such dark circles. Okay, let me just finish my thought. A lot of shame in Muslims and religious people is they're coping with their sexuality because of the culture that they grew up in. If you grow up in a country where as soon as the woman gets puberty, they cover her up, the implication there is that there is something about her that the boys need to discover. Okay? And it becomes something that they tiptoe around and they have to do it sneakily. You know when you like hide something from a kid? It becomes their life mission to get it, to find it. It's like a treasure. All right? So my issue with people objectifying children as soon as they get puberty, aside from the fact that they're being objectified, there's literally nothing to hide, okay? The point of covering up is a choice that you make to keep your connection solely with yourself and with Allah. But a lot of people are not ready to do that. A lot of people are lacking in their identity, and they don't have a relationship with Allah because they don't have a relationship with themselves. For them to cover prematurely and before they even find their identity, you are taking away that part of themselves, that self-discovery, and what their identity becomes is their appearance. They're not going to know who they are. They're not going to know who they are. They're just going to think that they are what they look like. And that is very dangerous. And that is from the woman's perspective, okay? On the other hand, for the person that reflects them, which is like the opposite, the guys, when they don't understand why women cover up to begin with, you get a bunch of like imbeciles. And no disrespect, but like you get a bunch of imbeciles that run around thinking that they need to uncover that woman. Okay, it just becomes a whole like shit show of objectification. Everybody is feeling shame. Okay, everybody's living down here. The woman is ashamed for having a body, having sexuality, which is completely normal. It was God-given, guys. Like, sex is God-given. Sex is something that actually connects us to each other. All right? There's no reason to be like feeling so ashamed about that. The reason why a religious person should cover is to disconnect themselves from relationships from the outside and just keep their relationship with themselves and Allah. And again, not a lot of people are ready for that. This is only for like the heavily religious people, like really, really religious people, like nun style, like people that actually want to dedicate their lives for worship. In the Quran, it says that women should cover, all right? They should cover their chest with their hoodie or their veil to avoid harassment outside. Now, this doesn't imply that whatever is going on is wrong with the woman. It implies that there's motherfuckers outside that are looking to do something to the woman. Okay? So as men, what you're supposed to do is not shame the woman, because that's the lowest frequency, okay? You don't shame the woman for however she chooses to dress. You work on yourselves, or you work on your brothers who are doing the harassment. This kind of like logic, it can apply to literally anything. Like this shaming for whatever the person is wearing. You can go anywhere with that. It doesn't have to do with just clothes. It has to do with it's just identity. All right? You can shame somebody for who they are racially. You can shame somebody for their sexuality. You can shame somebody for their gender. You can shame somebody for the language they speak, for their religion. All right? Shame keeps you in hell. For you to walk around feeling ashamed of who you are and what you like, what you dislike, for just your identity, you're going to be in hell, the alpha. Okay? If you're going to feel guilty about anything that you did because you are feeling ashamed, if you're going to feel guilty based off of that, you're going to be in hell. You're going to be in the alpha. All right? If this is your foundation, you are always going to struggle. And you are going to meet your partner who is also living in here, and you're both going to struggle together. Yay. That doesn't sound fun at all, does it? So in order for you to snap out of this, you have to be honest with yourselves. What are you feeling ashamed about? Stop worrying about what mom and dad think. Stop worrying about what your brother and sister think, what your neighbors think, what your teachers think, what random ass people like. Stop idolizing man, okay? Stop idolizing human beings. They got nothing to do with you. In fact, the sickness that you live in mentally, constantly abusing yourself and constantly feeling shame, you're abusing yourself. You are hurting yourself. You are doing it to yourself. And because that's all you've ever felt, you are feeling uncomfortable and you are having a hard time getting here because you don't want to put in the work to get out of here. And it's really easy. It just takes like a couple weeks, honestly. If you actually put your mind to it and you watch this video and actually like be honest with yourself and you put your mind to it, you face your fears and you just accept yourself for who you are and you realize It's none of anybody's business, literally nobody's business, how you choose to express yourself, how you choose to speak, to dress, what you eat, what you do. You can, if you just rid of the shame, then you will get rid of all the negative habits of yours. Your negative habits are just coping mechanisms. It's a whole cycle. Things that are haram, things that are deemed haram by Allah, are things that are hurtful to you. So if I were to go and I were to eat pork, it's going to be bad for my body, right? Going to probably make me gain more weight. It's probably going to put toxins in my body, like things that I don't want to be there. That's why pork is not good for us. It's haram, okay? If our bodies are not feeling well, we go to hell, all right? We're here. We're literally in the alpha. We stay here. If I go and drink alcohol, alcohol is a downer. Alcohol, like Allah says in the Quran, it has its benefits. But the negatives outweigh the benefits, okay? It's mostly a downer, and most people abuse alcohol. What happens when you drink? You feel down. You feel shame. You feel guilt. You're in hell. That's what you feel. You go all the way down, okay? What happens when you have sex before marriage? And when I say marriage, I don't mean just like a piece of paper, okay? I don't mean just a piece of paper that you walk around with, like, to just show that this is a person that you're married to and you're allowed to sleep with them. I don't believe that that's what marriage is anymore, because I hate to break it to everybody, but if you're in an abusive relationship as a Muslim, if you're in an abusive marriage, all right, and especially if you have kids, you are abusing yourself, you are abusing your partner, and you are abusing your children and their children and their children. You are literally destroying generation after generation with your busted ass relationship. So feel free to drop that haram relationship that you think is halal because you guys are married. Okay? It's just getting disgusting at this point, and your kids are being held hostage, and you are abusing like generation after generation with your abusive marriage and your toxic relationship. Again, okay? If you are down here, if you're in the alpha, and this is your foundation, you worship ego, and you assume that's God, okay? That, like, in your mind, you're worshiping God because you're doing the emotions, you're doing the prayer, the 5 daily prayers, but as soon as the prayer is over, you go from here, and you drop down to here. So I don't think you are worshiping God, actually, because worshiping God is not, it's not painful, it's not something that tears you apart, it's just something that makes you feel incredible. It's like something that connects you to the creator. I don't feel that a lot of us have that connection. I don't know if anybody, like, I don't know if a lot of people feel it. So screw the zina, okay? Fuck the zina. If you have sex with somebody that is feeling shame, guilt, apathetic, feeling grief, feeling fear, okay? You two, both of you, are going to stay here. If you are in the omega, and you sleep with somebody, this is where the zina comes in. If you do zina with somebody that is down here, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to go all the way down here. You're back down to hell. All right? The other way applies, actually. Somebody can take advantage of somebody in the omega. All right? Somebody that is in the alpha can raise up somebody in the omega, and they can have sex with them. And what happens is that this person is going to shoot right up. It becomes like a tool. That's why some people sleep around. It's because it gives them that high, all right? Sex gives you that high. It just depends on who you're doing it with. And it's haram, and you have to choose very wisely, because when you sleep with somebody, you are going to be tied to them, literally. And whoever they slept with, whoever you slept with, you guys, like, everybody's going to be jumbled. Okay? You're all going to be in one big happy relationship. You're taking on that kind of energy. It doesn't have anything to do with shame. Knowing about somebody's background, by the way, it's none of your business, but like knowing about somebody's background, it doesn't have to do with your ego and your insecurity and you shaming them. When you are an enlightened individual, somebody in the omega, you would know that whoever you meet, whoever you fall in love with, is somebody that reflects you. They have the same inner demons as you. Okay? So if you're enlightened and they're enlightened, then you both are used to struggle with the same things, the same exact things. Meaning, most of the time, you would have been on the same frequency and the same path. If they did X, Y, and Z in their life, then you did X, Y, and Z in their life. This is why I think it's really fucking weird for Muslims to be walking around and asking for people's sexual history before they get married to them. Number one, you're asking somebody to expose themselves to you, which, what the fuck? Okay? Number 2, who are you to ask a woman who she has had relationships with or relations with in the past? Who are you as a Muslim man to ask a woman that? Because if you are worried about something like that, then most likely you have done things as well, or these things are inside of you, so you worry that it's inside of her too. But if you are somebody that is actually loving, joyful, peaceful, enlightened, you would not give a flying fuck about these things, all right? Because they do not affect you if you do not let it affect you. The only way for things to affect you is for you to be already down here. You're already feeling shameful. You're already feeling guilty, apathetic, grief. You're grieving. You're feeling fearful. So you're expecting your partner to feel the same way. If you are down here by choice, you're not in a place where you are being forced to live in hell, like Gaza and Sudan, countries that you have no way to get out of poverty, no way to, very difficult for you to get to where somebody is with their basic necessities, basic human needs, okay? If you are somebody that is consciously every day forcing yourself to be down here, living in shame, in guilt, apathetic, grief, and fear, okay? You have no business looking for a relationship. The only reason you would be looking for a relationship is because you think it's going to solve your problems, and you think that your person, your wife or your husband, they're going to get you to where you perceive is up here, all right? In your perception, which in your perception, when you're down here, if your foundation is in the ego, it's down here in hell, in the alpha. If your foundation is here, what you are perceiving, the omega, the highest point in life is materials. Oh, like a big house, a car, a big family, material things for you to show other people, like, hey, this is what I have. That's what you would be assuming. But when you face your foundation, okay, when you face your ego, and you work through your shame and your guilt and your apathy and your grief and your fear and your desire and your stress, and you go through anger and you go through your pride and your courage, and then you become neutral. Suddenly you're feeling willing to try new things, such as being yourself. Khalas. Okay? Your foundation is no longer down here. You moved up. You can move up. Some people live in anger and stress and desire. Some people stay here. Some people move up to here and they stay here. But if you're really strong and ambitious individual, then you want to keep going, right? Keep going. If you want to move past stress and anger and pride, you have to be courageous. You have to be yourself. Okay? Be strong. Be bold. Do something random. Do something out of your character. Completely out of your character, which is a character that you put up, that you got molded into. All right? Be courageous. Okay? When you become neutral, all right, this is when things are going to start coming your way. Things that you did not expect. You wanted, you didn't even know that you wanted for yourself. And now that you let go, now you do. Now you see that what actually makes you happy is not what you wanted when you were down here. No, you don't know what's good for you. You don't know what's good for you. It's your first time living. Suddenly you're willing to try new things. Down here, you're feeling afraid. You're feeling fear. Okay? When your foundation is in the alpha, when you are down here in your ego, you're like smothering yourself and you're living in fear. You have no willingness to try new things. You might get urges, but you're so afraid. You're like, what will people think if I do this? All right? And I'll tell you what the answer is. It doesn't fucking matter what people will think. Okay? What people think, they can keep that shit to themselves. And if they don't, then why is it supposed to affect you? Why do you want to let people dictate your life? Do you see that they're happy? The only people that want your success are successful people. Okay? Everybody else is trying to talk you out of things. They're just afraid. And they're telling you that they are afraid. They're just telling you what they wouldn't do if they were in your situation. They would not do what you potentially can. You feel acceptance. Here, in this area, you will lose most judgment you've had towards people. This area right here is beautiful. It's nice. because you will not feel any more judgment towards people. You will embrace the cringe. Suddenly you will see that the things that you used to judge people for, such as how that person cut her hair, or that guy wears like how he wears his pants, or like this person smelling good, that person smelling bad, things that you judge people for, none of it fucking matters, and you were just being a bully. This is what you start to realize over here. If you make fun of somebody for something, if you mock them for who they are, you are just being a bully. You want to make them feel what you feel. You want to make them feel ashamed. If you bully somebody, you try to get them to stop doing what they're doing, stop expressing themselves, stop talking the way they talk, stop enjoying what they enjoy. Especially if it doesn't hurt anyone, you just want them to feel shame. When you're up here, wherever your foundation is, suppose your foundation is here, suddenly you will feel acceptance towards, I just realized something. So this area here, I believe, love, reason, acceptance, willingness, and neutrality, this is the foundation of mothers. I just realized. I think when people have children, or when mothers create and they have a child, then they end up here because this becomes their frequency. This is it. Suppose they're not in survival mode. If they're not living in survival mode, then they jump to up here. This becomes their frequency. Okay? They become more easy to accept and more easy to be willing and be neutral and less judgmental. This is what I notice about mothers. Mothers are more easy to accept people for who they are than anybody else. It's like a transition that happens, I think. It's really interesting. Okay. Choose where your foundation is. Decide it. Write it down. What do you want to be? What is it that is occupying your brain all the time? And speaking of which, for people that struggle with mental illness and overthinking and depression, anxiety, I will tell you something that would have helped me a long time ago, because I struggled with the same for a long time and I let it take over. But I was lucky. I was so lucky that I was young and I was able to bounce back from it very, very, very quickly. There are people that live a fake life and become somebody that they think other people want them to, and they do that for so long that when the walls are down and the mask is down, they end up losing their minds. And when that happens and you go into psychosis, it gets really scary. Some people go for so long that they forget who they ever were, and they become old and they become completely insufferable individuals and very lonely, and nobody would be able to talk to them anymore. This is what happens to old people that nobody wants to be around. I want you to know that if you struggle with mental disorders and mental illness, I want you to know that there is nothing wrong with you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. I will go over it in another session. I want to get this out of the way first, get everything out of my, I don't want to erase it just yet. But I want you to know, as smothering as your thoughts can be, your brain is bullying you. You do not need to listen to your thoughts. You can observe them. Okay, it's easier said than done. It takes a lot of practice. But at some point, with you just observing them and not acting on them, all right, you'll realize your brain is just fucking with you. It is just repeating thoughts and things that other people said to you, and things that other people said to your parents and your grandparents, is just repeating it down to you, and it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to deserve it. Even if you did something to deserve it, I guess, you can still work through it and become better. Everybody has a chance to get better. Don't let it overtake you, because fear, this is what accumulates into anxiety. Grief is what accumulates into depression. Apathy accumulates into narcissism. This right here is where people get stuck when they let their thoughts win. This is what happens when you let your inner demons and your thoughts win. This you stay here. You are better than this. And nobody, no doctor, nobody is going to be able to stop it for you. You just have to make the change yourself. Only people that need that push are going to be able to hear this. There's nothing wrong with you, and nothing is your fault. Nothing is your fault, okay? As hard as things may be, as hard as things, and I don't deny that life is fucking awful, and you must have gone through so much, so fucking much for things to be so bad. Be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Whose side are you on if you bully yourself and you say mean things to yourself and you put yourself down and you don't, you are supposed to be your best friend. You are a human being just like everybody else in the room. When you look at somebody, you have like your friends all around you. You look at them and you think, you're so beautiful, you're so funny, you're so smart, you're amazing. And then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I hate you, you're so ugly, blah, blah, blah. Why do you do that? Why the fuck you do that? You are a person just like everybody else. That's not nice. Go apologize to yourself right now. You say mean things to yourself, go apologize right now. Go look at yourself in the mirror and say, I like your hair. Okay? Your skin looks nice. Even if you have things that bother you about your skin. Stop bullying yourself about... You don't go around telling somebody anything about their skin, right? So don't bully yourself for your skin. Be nice to your body, okay? Okay, you look sexy. You look hot. Okay? You look amazing. You are so funny. You're so cute. Even if you are ever around people that don't think you're pretty, they don't think you're funny, they don't deserve you. Go somewhere else. Don't ever put yourself in a situation where you get anxiety. If you are feeling anxiety, that's your body's way of telling you that something is wrong and you need to go figure it out. Don't put yourself in situations where you are feeling anxiety. Go home, sit down, write it down. Write down exactly what you're feeling. Why am I feeling this way? Why is my heart racing? What am I thinking about right now? Work through every single thing that is making you feel afraid. We are not supposed to be feeling like this. This is not normal. Yet, most people are feeling it at the same time, and you don't realize. What helped me through my worst is one lady telling me to look around and ask me, do you really think everybody here is having a great time? I was like, I never thought about it. And she's like, exactly. And she's like, maybe you should start. And I did. And I'm like, oh, goddamn, the world literally does not revolve around me. The less you think about yourself, the more present you are, the more you'll start to go up. You'll get higher, literally. If you keep thinking about you, stop. Stop thinking about yourself. Who gives a shit? All right? Go and take yourself out on a date. Do your hair. Dress up nice. You don't need anybody else's validation. In the end, the way people treat each other is the way they treat themselves. So if you don't treat yourself nice, you are going to get people that treat you nice, but you're not going to see it. You're not going to be accepting of it. You are only going to accept the love that you give yourself. If you give yourself, like say you give yourself this much love, okay? Somebody up here comes and they give you all this love, all right? And you're right here. This is your cup, okay? Hold on, let me grab a marker. Okay, if this is your cup, okay? And you want love, right? You want X, Y, and Z. But this is your cup. This is how much you normally love yourself every day. Okay? This is it. You have somebody that has this much love. It exists. It's real. They are perfectly capable of loving you. Perfectly capable. It's just that you can't handle it because you don't try to make your cup any bigger. This is how much love you can give them. Okay? So it's really unfair to them. It's really unfair to them for you to love them this much. And it's unfair for you to expect them to love you because if they try to pour, what's going to happen? It's gonna overflow. You know? It's going to go everywhere and you're not going to catch much. And then suddenly you're suffocating and you're like, you start freaking out and you're like, oh my God, why don't they love me? Why don't they love me? And when you see all that love, like it's flowing everywhere, it's going everywhere. You're not seeing any of it. You're just like drowning in it and you're suffocating and you don't realize what the fuck is going on. So you have to expand. For you to be able to accept a lot of love from someone and get your perfect partner that Allah has for you, or the universe has waiting for you, your perfect partner that's up here, you have to get up here too. For you to do that, you have to dedicate some time to getting up here, okay? Self-worth, identity. You have to find out who you are. The best way to do this is to start over fresh completely, and only do this if you have the capacity to do so, okay? If you are ready to give up everything in your life and start over fresh, this is the steps that I took as somebody that had no clue about anything going on around the world. I had nothing. I had no knowledge, nothing. I was at rock bottom, completely like fucked up, completely depressed, could not get out of bed, nothing, okay? I had nobody, literally nobody. People tried to come and help me, but I was literally here. I was literally at this point, okay? People from up here tried to help me. Nothing was getting through to me. Nothing. All right? Nothing. And like, I love you guys so much. Thank you. So what I did is I felt that there was something wrong. What is going on? Like, there's this big ass world around me, and all I'm doing is just going insane. I'm really depressed and I'm really anxious. Okay? I'm really scared. So what did I do? The next day, I did this thing where I went outside and I pretended, mentally, just myself, I pretended I don't know anything about myself. Nothing. And that way, I don't know anything about where I am. I don't know anything about anybody, any of my friends, any of my family. I don't know nothing about anybody at all. And I started to observe. And when I observed everything around me, I saw that everybody was stuck in a cycle, like they were in a loop. Every person had one topic that they talked about, and it was something from down here. Either one of this, or something that they used to cope with it. Okay, whatever they were doing to cope, everybody in my life was here. So was I, all right? I was there for a while, even like 2 years after I did this exercise, but I started over, all right? You can too. You did not choose your upbringing. You did not choose a family you were born in. This was just luck of the fucking draw, guys. This was luck of the draw. You did not choose none of this. Now you can. Now you can always choose. Literally like a whole ass rebrand. You can always start over. Okay? You don't like where you are in life? Fuck it. Start over. Start a new one. If you have nothing to lose, especially, just give it a try. Literally give it a try. This way, start observing people around you, people that you see every day, and the ones that you love so much. What is going on with them? Aside from whatever you know about them, try to observe them. What are they talking about every day? Every person had one single topic that they could talk about. All right? And I was like, no fucking wonder I'm going crazy. Like, this was my foundation. This is it. And I don't want this anymore. I didn't want it. I didn't know how to like word it. I didn't know none of this. I knew the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's all I knew. I knew that I needed basic like necessities like food, water, shelter. That's what I was lacking with too. I was like in survival mode. I was literally in survival mode. Yeah, I was stuck here. But me taking that step threw me into a whole new life. Me doing that one random thing that was so out of my, out of my character, started me over. And I went down a completely different path. Not the best one still, but that Sarah walked so I could run. Okay? That's how I see it. If you worship anything from down here, suppose you worship material things, or you are chasing, like say you chase sex, you chase pleasure, you chase money, you chase blah, 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 blah. Anything that you chase is always going to be out of your reach. You can get loads of it and you're still not going to be happy. You're still going to feel empty on the inside. That's what happens to people that are given too much since they're younger and they don't understand, they don't appreciate, they don't have any gratitude towards it. If you flip it around and you worship what's up here, which is the unknown, all right, separate yourself from this physical world, meditate, pray, listen to Allah, listen to God, listen to the universe. Enjoy what's out there. We have an abundance of everything, okay? Once again, okay, dear Muslims, we are not forced to live here. We're not forced to live in shame. Our brothers and sisters in Gaza and in Sudan, and there was Syria also, they were forced to live in hell. Forced physically by people. They're literally, that's why shuhada are exempt from anything in the past, because they never had a chance to live. They got their lives taken away by somebody else. They got their lives taken away prematurely. That's why shuhada are exempt. They never got to live their life to the fullest and choose for themselves where they are. So Allah does not include them in this. They go straight, shuhada go straight to Allah. They go back up, all the way up. Okay? We have a choice. You are consciously choosing to live in shame, to live in guilt, to be apathetic. Right next door to you, your brothers and sisters are being tortured and unalived and bombed, and they're being completely wrecked. And you are choosing to ignore it because you are living in survival mode, forcing yourself to be here. Meanwhile, what you have is 1,000,000 times more than what they have. They were, and they are, starving, okay? Don't even have water. I feel like I'm being gaslit. I feel like I'm really being gaslit. Because while I'm seeing people being murdered, okay? And people being starved. And there's enough coverage about Gaza. You guys are not doing anything. Talk about Sudan now, guys. I'm sorry, sorry, is there something about Sudanese people that is making you not talk about them? Do they not have a chance to live? Do they not get that chance? Do they not get a chance to be close to Allah? Do they just need to live in fear their entire lives? They don't get a choice. They don't get a chance to close their phone and go have dinner, okay? That's just their everyday life. And you, as Muslims, you are their neighbors. You have the power to do something about it. What can I do about it? Says one person out of 150 million. Every single person. Get over yourselves. Muslims in the Middle East, get over yourselves, and in the West, and everywhere. Stop thinking about yourself. Stop assuming you're going to hell, because if you keep thinking that you're going to hell or other people are going to hell, you're already there. Let me just tell you, okay? Because the rest of us in the world don't claim that, and we're living perfectly fine, okay? Okay? You thinking that you're going to hell, or Allah is angry with you, Allah, you have to fear Allah so much, and you have to live here. This is where you are. When there's the rest of the world, this is where you are. Most likely, this is haram. Okay? Let me tell you, this is abuse. You are abusing yourself, and because you are suffering so much, you don't fathom the level of suffering that other people are being forced to go through. Not by choice. They don't just sit around and, force themselves to live in complete shit. They just never had a chance to live a normal life. You don't blink twice, okay? You don't blink an eye towards people who are forced to live in fear and starvation and live in hell, okay? Because you're down there with them too, except they don't have a choice, they don't have a chance. And I promise you, if they are given a chance to get out and they are in your shoes, they would do, the first thing that they would do is go back and help their brothers and sisters in Sudan. That's the first thing that they would do. But you have not experienced any oppression. You are just oppressing yourself, okay? Because that's your comfort zone. That's what makes you think will make mommy and daddy happy. That's who you think God is. Okay, God will be so proud of you the more you suffer. You don't get a gold fucking medal for suffering, okay? Sorry to break it to you, boys. You don't get a gold medal for living being so worried that Allah is angry at you and He hates you and No, you don't get that. That's just you. That's just you projecting, all right? You think the harder your life is, the better? I don't think so. That's not how it works. That's just how you want to show others that you are a good person by living a shittier life. And at this point, there's no more time to be doing that, because once again, I would like to reiterate that our brothers and sisters are in Sudan, children, elderly, the disabled, women, men, everybody's being murdered there, guys. I keep saying this into the fucking camera, and I feel like I get chills. I feel like I'm being fucking gaslit. I can't stress this enough. Because all I'm seeing is people online, and they're just fucking criticizing Muslims. They're just criticizing actual Muslims that are trying to do something. They're actually trying to make a fucking difference. And you have everybody else who are like, oh my God, fear Allah. How about you fear Allah? Okay? If the Prophet Muhammad were here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was here, I don't know. I really don't think he would be sitting on the internet telling a woman to cover up. I think he would actually be going and helping the Sudanese. He would be helping Gazans. He would be leading a war, okay, against the RSF, against Israel. He would be doing that. I do believe that, okay? Do you not want to be like the Prophet or any of the prophets? Do you not want to be like the prophets who are actually righteous people? They're actually good people. Do you not want to be like them, or do you think they are out of your reach? Like, they are people that were so different from the rest of the human beings that you cannot be like them. Do you not see how that is a form of idolization for you to think that you cannot be like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? You don't even want to try. You don't even want to try. Of course, he was infallible. Okay? That is why he was a prophet. Like the rest of the prophets. All of them were infallible. Because they were operating from here purely. That's it. Okay? Sometimes, like that story where Surah Abasa. My lips dry. Oh my God. Alright. Khalas. Let's start talking about idolization in Islam. I'm going to finish cleaning my room. I'm gonna stop it here. Thank you all for listening. I'm gonna go cry this out because I'm in a lot of pain right now. I'm just gonna be like honest with you. I feel like a copious amount of fucking pain, like thinking about these things. Okay. I need to go and clean my room. It's a little messy right now, so I'm gonna go finish folding my laundry, clean my room, freshen up, probably like have a snack, come back, and we are going to talk about idolization and Islam. Okay, great.